All right, we're going to continue where we left off on Monday. This is lesson 8.7, solving inequalities. Excuse me. So before we were kind of working through, reminder, if we have something that looks like this, that's greater than, that's less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Those are going to be each one of our different symbols that we have to work with. Um, and when we balance things back and forth, it's going to be just like balancing an equation. It's just that instead of having an equal sign, we're going to have an inequality. Okay. So I'm looking at this first story problem here. It says Juanita is going bowling and has $25 to spend. Write and solve an inequality to find the maximum number of games she can bowl if each game costs $3.75 and she buys a snack for $2. Okay, so if she has $25 to spend, okay, she's got $25 to spend. All right, and then the next part is it says she buys a snack, it's going to cost $2. Plus, she's going to have a bunch of different games of bowling. And each game is going to be $3.75. I don't know how many games of bowling she's going to have. So I'm just going to use the X there. Okay. So here's going to be what she spends, what she actually spends. And then on the left-hand side is going to be what she is allowed to spend. Okay. The way, hopefully, that you remember is that when I set these up, I want to make sure my variable is on the left-hand side and I have my inequality, and then I'm going to have kind of the number it's going to solve to on the right-hand side. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as 2 plus 3.75x. And now it says she can spend up to $25, meaning she can't spend more than $25. Okay, so 25 has to be less than or equal to. Oops, sorry. Less than or equal to. And that's going to be $25. So as long as Juanita spends less than $25 or even exactly $25, we're good. But we're not allowing her to go borrow any money from somebody somewhere else. So if I have a problem like this, just like what we have done before, we're going to draw that line kind of right down the middle there. Excuse me. And now I'm going to look at it. I'm going to balance this stuff out. So I'm going to do the stuff that's not the letter X. So this one has a positive 2. The opposite of positive 2 is minus 2. And then I'm left with $3.75 X. This symbol is not going to change, less than or equal to. 25 minus 2 is going to be 23. On to the next part is I want to get the X all by itself. So if I'm going to get the X by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by $3.75. So I got 23 divided by $3.75. And that tells me X is less than or equal to 6.1. Actually, it's 6.13, and the 3 is repeating. Okay, now I'm going to go look at my problem, okay? So this thing says X is less than or equal to 6.13, which, yes, that's the number we can work with. But I'm going to read that problem again. It says, write and solve the inequality to find the maximum number of games that she can bowl. Okay, hopefully you guys have realized at this point in your life, you can't bowl a partial game. So looking at this number, we can't go over that. So the maximum amount of games that she can bowl is that Juanita can bowl 6 games. And that's it. Because again, if she has 7, it's over, and we can't go over. We can go less than or equal to. So she can bowl up to, I actually had that one in there. She can bowl up to 6 games, because if she wanted to only bowl 1 game, that still works. 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games. She can do 6 games, but she just can't do any more than 6. On to example number 2. All right, with example number 2, it says Kelly prepared 28 bags of granola to sell at school at a school fundraiser. She also received a $10 donation. Write and solve an inequality to find the price she should charge for each bag of granola if she wants to raise at least $115. So my goal of what she'd like to get is going to be this one. So I know that the goal is going to be $115. She wants to raise at least, so she can raise more than or equal to $115. Okay. And we know that she's going to sell 28 bags. So she got 28 bags, but we don't know how much she's going to charge for each one of those. Okay. Because of that, I'm going to give that a variable. So it's going to be 28 bags times however much, some amount for each bag of granola. And then it also said she received a $10 donation. So she received 10 extra dollars. At this point, I've set up my equation. If I've set my equation up, now I can go through and I can work to solve it. I'm still going to draw that line straight down. And now I'm going to start working backwards. So this says plus 10, so I'm going to minus 10 to both sides. That gives me 28x greater than or equal to 105. Can divide both sides by 28 because that's the opposite of multiplying by 28. I now have 105 divided by 28, and it tells me x is greater than or equal to 4.2, and because it's money, I got to make sure I go over 2 decimal places. So it lets me know that she needs to charge at least $4.20 per bag. So she can charge more than that, but she needs to bowl at least $4.20. She needs to, sorry, not bowl. She needs to charge at least $4.20 per bag. Okay. All right. There's my problems there. This is where I'm going to start dealing with negative numbers and the inequalities. All right. So I'm going to take a little bit more time. I'm going to zoom in as best I can to really show you what's going on in each one of these. So we're going to solve it and then we'll graph it. We'll still graph, but no matter what, we're going to solve it first. So I'm going to rewrite this problem just so I can have some room to work with. I got negative y divided by 4 is less than 3. Okay. Now, what I need to do is I still want to get this y on the side all by itself. So I'm going to kind of show 2 different steps here. I'm going to give you an extra step first. So right now it's saying divided by 4. The opposite of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. And yes, I do see the negative sign. I just want to show you in 2 steps first. So 4 times kind of that reciprocal, so divided by 4, those ones cancel out, and I'm left with negative y is less than 3 times 4 is 12. Oh, I forgot to make my dotted line here, or my line here. All right, here is where things get weird. All right, I've got this negative y is less than a positive 12. Whenever I multiply or divide by a negative number, the sign is going to change. I'm actually going to write this down. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, I'm going to say you flip the sign. So right here, I had this y, negative y is less than 12. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this thing around. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. So that turned this into a y. I had to flip the sign because it was a negative. So it used to be less than. Now it's going to be y is greater than. And I'm going to have it as y is greater than negative 12. Okay. So here is what my answer would look like before I put it on a number line. I'm going to show this again. I'm going to slide it over here on this side just to show you a second way to kind of visualize what I just did right there. Okay, I'm going to rewrite the same step exactly the way it was on this side. It was negative y was less than 12. I'm going to do the exact same thing here, but I'm going to show you the long way to do it just to show it's going to be the exact same answer. Excuse me. So if I didn't want to multiply or divide by a negative number at all, I can do that. Okay, I could say plus y. I'm going to plus y to both sides. Those ones cancel out, so I'd have y, or 0 is less than 12 plus y. And now I'm going to subtract 12 to both sides. I get negative 12 is less than y. And then remember, I always want to have my variable on the left-hand side. So I'm going to flip-flop those signs. I'm going to get that one real quick. I'm going to flip-flop these from both sides. And I'm going to flip this around as well. So it is opened up to the y on that one. So I get y is greater than negative 12. Again, without having to do any division, all I did was I kind of added, subtracted, I moved things around, and I got y is greater than negative 12. If I look at this side over here, are these the same thing? They most certainly are. So if you don't want to multiply or divide by a negative, it's possible to still get the answer, but hopefully you saw that by multiplying or dividing and just knowing that I have to flip the sign, I was able to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 extra steps. And I don't know about you, but being able to get rid of some of those steps sounds great to me. All right, well, anyway, I've got y is greater than negative 12. I'm going to give myself a couple extra lines here so I can make that number line. Excuse me. All right, I'm now going to have my number line right down here. Oops, tablet moved on me while I was writing. So I got at least 3 numbers. This is negative 12. A smaller number is negative 13. And I've got negative 11. This says greater than negative 12. So it needs to be an open circle. And it's saying greater than. Also, it looks like that arrow is pointing to the right. So I will shade everything in to the right. Point it this way. And that's going to be my answer. So y is greater than negative 12. I solved it, put it on a number line. That's what I get for an answer. Okay. On to example number 2. I've got 7. I'm going to rewrite it again just so I can have some extra room to work. I've got 7 is greater than or equal to negative 2f. Okay, I'm going to draw my little dotted line right, or my line that goes straight down from right here. I want to get that f on a side all by itself. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 2. Okay, 7 divided by negative 2, and I'm going to change that just to a decimal so I can work with something a little bit easier. 7 divided by negative 2 is negative 3.5. Because I divided by a negative, that means I have to switch around this sign. So instead of being greater than or equal to, it's now going to be less than or equal to. And then I'm left with f. So negative 3.5 is less than or equal to f. Perfect. Now the last step, I want to get my variable on the left-hand side. So that means I have to switch all that stuff around. And let me get that one extra step. F used to be on the right. Now it's going to be on the left. I flipped it around, so my sign has to change. And then negative 3.5 used to be on the left. Now it's going to be on the right. I changed the order of everything, and I flipped the direction of that sign. Okay? In order for me to figure out the rest of it or to put it on a number line, I'm going to go through, make my number line here. I need at least 3 numbers. Again, at least 3 numbers. I'm going to start with negative 3. This will be negative 4. This will be negative 2. If I'm putting that on the number line, negative 3.5. Negative 3.5 is in between the 3 and the 4. So it's going to go right there. I look at my inequality. I see that it says greater than or equal to. If it's greater than or equal to, that means it's going to be a filled in circle. And now I look at the direction that is pointing. It's pointing to the right. And that tells me that everything over here is going to get filled in. And I'm also going to shade in that arrow. All right, next example. Same thing again. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to make that divider line right down there. As I look at it, it says negative 9x is less than negative 27. I want to get the x all by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 9. Negative 9 to both sides. I'm left with an x. Because I divided or multiplied by a negative, I have to change the sign. So instead of being less than, it's now going to be greater than. I have a negative divided by a negative. That means it's going to be a positive. 27 divided by 9 is a positive 3. Okay, my variables on the left. I have my inequality in the center. I have my number on the right. Perfect. It is in the right order. So that part's good. Now for me to put it on a number line, I need at least 3 numbers. So I got 2, 3, and then 4. It says x is greater than 3. If it's greater than 3, that means right here it will be an open circle. It's pointing to the right, so I will fill in to the right. And that's what I got for my number line. Okay, the very last one we're going to do here. It's kind of taking all those extra steps of putting the stuff all together. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you exactly 1 minute. I will start my timer here. I'll give you 1 minute to work on this. Remember, you're going to have to do some addition, subtraction first, and then multiply and divide. Any numbers that are negative, you'll switch over the inequality sign. So 1 minute starting now. All right. Your minute is up. I'm going to work through it with you. So hopefully, I'm going to go through the steps as we've discussed it in multiple classes before. The very first thing I want to do is I want to get the variable on my left-hand side. So I've got this x or negative x divided by 5 plus 4 is greater than or equal to 11. So this says plus 4. The opposite of adding 4 is going to be subtract 4. So I get negative x over 5 is greater than or equal to 11 minus 4 is 7. Next part, I'm going to change colors here to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 5. Because it's saying divided by negative 5, I'm going to multiply it by negative 5. So when I do that, those ones cancel out. This gives me x on this side. Because I multiplied or divided by the negative, my sign will change. So less than or equal to 7 times negative 5. That gives me negative 35. I've got my variable on the left and it's positive. I've got my inequality in the center. I've got my number on the right-hand side. I am good. The very last thing to do is to draw my number line, I need at least 3 numbers. So negative 35, negative 36, and then negative 34. It is less than or equal to, meaning I'm going to fill in that circle. And then it's pointing to the left. So I'm going to shade everything into the left. And your number line should look like this. At this point in class, I'd ask you if it's making sense, give me a thumbs up. I can pretend like I can see your thumbs, but I can't see them right now. So, excuse me again, the assignment for tonight, okay, what you guys are going to have to work with. I want you to do page 371. We already did the first half of the assignment, so I'm not going to go over those. We're going to go over more of the examples at the end here. What I would like you to do, 371, numbers 24 through 33, all of those ones. So 24 through 33, all of them. Okay? That gives you 10 total questions. Okay? Solve the inequality, graph the solution on a number line for numbers 25 through 33. All right, have at it.